of an African safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our sunrise safari. We've got mighty impalas over here, and this is Safari Live.
Ready. Standing by.
Five, four, three, two, one. You are live, you are live.
Welcome everyone again to this wonderful sunrise safari on this very, very nice winter morning. We are just waking up to the sound of impala rutting, all of them moving around not too far from where we actually sleep, and we've just heard a male going a bit crazy, chasing all the females around and making them all start their morning exercise. Beautiful morning indeed. My name is Ali, and on camera with me today I've got Gray, aka the Batman, the original one, and we would love to take you guys on a safari this morning, and what better way to start with, you know, the very, very common yet very mighty impala that we see every morning and that always provide some source of entertainment. I see the male is busy running around, so let's maybe see if he goes all crazy again and starts chasing all the poor girls. See, there's one girl that's been chased away. He's been going up and down like crazy. Now that we didn't hear too many lions around during the night, I think the impala is feeling quite brave. And he's just reminding everyone around this area that, you know, he's the boss. There we go. See, at this time of the year, they're coming out of what's called the rutting season or their mating season. So the males normally make that noise and they start fighting with other males and hurting the females and just making sure that they stick in an area where they can control them and just make sure they don't go away and start mating with other males that could be lurking around. I think he seems to have exhausted himself. Too much running already in the morning, and the sun is not really even up yet. Some people, I suppose, started very, very early. Look at all these pretty impala. I think I'd say we have about an easy 50 of them around here. It's probably one of the best spots to see impala. However, we're gonna carry on our day, see what the African bush has in store for us. Hopefully many, many good surprises. We had quite an exciting day yesterday, so we're gonna go see what else we can find. But in the meantime, my dear friend Taylor would like to say hello.
Good morning, everybody. It is freezing and frosty, and we are all frozen out here this morning on the Sunrise Safari. My name is Taylor, and on camera with me today is Sebastian. Well, hopefully we're going to find some animals for you today, not do too much running around, as I was saying on the pre-show. Now, if you have just tuned in and you are all nice and warm, perhaps you're just finishing your day off at work, depending, of course, where you are in the world. But remember, you can chat to us, you can send us your questions, you can send us some pictures, you can let us know how your day is going. Hashtag Safari Live on Twitter. That is the only way to get hold of us, of course. Now, Ali said she's going to do some road learning this morning, so we'll have to see how she goes. So I think we should better get her to tell you as she drives about where she is, and we'll see if she does all right today. As you all know, I'm hopeless when it comes to trying to learn the road. So Ali, good luck to that. I only just know them now after almost being here for a year. I'm hopeless. But anyways, we're just checking the boundary at the moment. We're on Triple M. I'm going to be turning off onto Impala Plains Road in just a moment, and we're going to start weaving through a couple of these sections, hoping to find some lions. There hasn't been that much activity in the terms in the form of footprints, just that one set of lioness tracks going about. This seems to be a favorite spot that they cross into, and we're not sure if those lions have been on the property the entire time. It's definitely a huge possibility that they have just been sitting in the drainage line somewhere and hiding away from us. We can't, unfortunately, drive everywhere and check sort of every crevice and every drainage line on the property. It's almost impossible, especially when you are driving around, but we shall try our absolute best, because I'd like to figure out what the Nguhuma's movements are, because they've been quite sneaky lately, and they do sneak, but once you figure out what their routine is, which roads they seem to be using, areas they seem to be lying, then they become quite predictable. And we saw this was evident from last year during the drought, when they hung around the drainage systems between Gallagher Shortcut extending all the way to Gari Cutline. They loved that sort of area. I don't know if they're going to do the same thing, so that's why I'm starting off by checking around here just a little bit further west, southwest, and then we'll head up to those spots in just a moment. But I'm looking for anything. If there's a leopard out and about too, I'll quite happily show you a leopard. But we didn't hear any soaring last night and haven't seen any footprints yet. But perhaps Ali, as she starts heading sort of further south, maybe she can check around Twin Dams, Shibamu, and also Treehouse Dam, because that's where we had little Shongile's tracks, and they love popping in over there. I don't think they're spending too much time on the property. They're just sort of popping in for a visit and then heading back across again. Whoop, over these little bumps. Let's have a very quick look around here. Sebastian, is there anything in particular that you would like to see today? Elephants, you say? Sebastian? Yes, well, most of you know I'm always up for elephants, so Sebastian has requested that we try and find some elephants this morning, so we will most certainly do that. What's that noise? I thought I heard a hyena whooping, but it's not. I am hearing something, aren't I? Okay, there's hyenas making a noise down here. Let's go look quickly. I just want to go down, I think let's go down the Power Lines Road. We're not far from it now. It's sort of howling quite a bit, and I wonder if it maybe hasn't found something and is calling the rest of the crew in, or it could just be doing a big call too. But not 100% certain. Let's go and have a look. Whee! So many bumps. Oh, many bumps. That's amazing. It's quite difficult to hear the sounds over their engine, but the longer that you work in the bush, the easier it is to be able to identify these sounds. First I thought it was a little buzz in my ear, and when I stopped, of course, there was no sound at all. I should have been a bit more patient, but thank you, Sebastian. Let's go quickly. The Power Lines Road is just up ahead. We'll also just quickly scan underneath these guarri bushes in case there is a sleeping lion. Just resting. Because it's either between on this Power Line Road and between the gates, somewhere along here. Now I did have the hyena tracks, of course, going up and down on Triple M. So it could just be one coming back the side. But you never know. Let's go have a look around here. Oh, one last big bump. Whee! Up and over. Okay. What do you think? Sebastian, think we're going to get lucky this morning? I really hope we're going to get lucky. We deserve it. It's freezing out here today. I actually don't even know what the temperature is, but the real feel is versus what the temperature is, I can tell you right now, is going to be... What was the Impalas? I saw something move and I got so excited I had to stand up out of my chair. 53 Fahrenheit. Lies. Absolute lies. It is not that temperature. It is much colder this morning. I can promise you it does not feel like 12 degrees Celsius. But I suppose that's also because of the real feel. We've got the chill factor coming in with the air. It feels like it's probably around 4 or 5 degrees this morning. It's frosty. Impala? Did you hear those hyena? No, not wanting to stop for a chat this morning. They're not having any of it. There were 2 young Impala rams darting off. So I'm just going to check through here. It was echoing quite a bit, so I wonder if it wasn't down in a bit of a drainage somewhere that would create that sound. Okay. Well, we're going to keep searching and hopefully we're going to find the culprits that are making all the noise. Ali is on her way to the hyena den. Who knows? We might see some little cubs.
Well, not on our way just yet. We just got an update that it seems that one of the moms and the cubs are outside, but there are other vehicles there. So we're gonna patiently wait for our turn, and hopefully they'll still be around there. So I think maybe in the next half an hour or so we'll be able to have a little glimpse at all the little ones. I haven't met them yet, so I'm very excited to potentially see any of them, to be honest. Ah, well, hello, dove, going flying through. Very, very nice morning today. Oh, we've got some babblers starting to wake up. This is by far one of my favorite noises in the bush. I think we won't be able to potentially see them because they won't sit still. These noisy little things are called the arrow-marked babblers. I'm just trying to find them in the book for you guys, just so that we can have a bit of an idea of what they look like. Alrighty, so we've got a few different types of babblers, but the ones that we get in this particular area is this one over here, the arrow-marked babbler. And very, very easy to distinguish. It's quite a biggish bird. I mean, it's about maybe this big, but it's always making that noise because they live in nice big flock groups of maybe 5 to 10 of them. But when one starts making the call, you know, blah 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 blah, then the rest of them join in, and they're all going blah 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 blah. So it is quite funny to hear them early in the morning because they're very, very energetic little birds when everything else is nice and quiet and everything's waking up. There they go. So we're gonna leave them to claim their area to all of the other birds and babblers around. Lulu, ostriches in the area are unfortunately very hard to find. We do get them in Kruger National Park in one of the reserves further south from ours. There's been two recorded in the last few years. So they are here, but not here where we are. I know that sounds very strange, but if we could, we would definitely go and find one, because I have never seen an ostrich in the Sabi Sand. So hopefully one day we'll see them, but I think the chances are a bit low for us today to try and find one, just because there are a bit maybe too many predators for them around here, too many lions, too many leopards, and it's not a great area to raise all their chicks. Oh, I thought there was an owl on the tree, but I was mistaken. Let's see. We are slowly heading on to where Taylor suggested we should go. We're trying to learn a few roads today, and we're heading on to a road that's called Shibamo, I should hope. Otherwise we'll end up somewhere else and we'll have to find another road. Ah, the sun is just starting to come up. Look how pretty it looks in between all the trees. Very, very nice sunrise now that it's finally decided to come and join us out here. It's always hard to tell the difference between sunrise and sunset if you were just to look at a screenshot, isn't it? But I think particularly beautiful. Oh, I think we're also looking at a sunrise with a marula tree, and we closed yesterday with a marula tree. So I think that's a perfect circle. Not too bad. Glad that the sun is coming out, because I'm sure you can see my breath. So it's quite cold this morning, like Taylor said. I think it's 12 degrees and 55, 53 Fahrenheit. So we're all quite cold. But now that the sun's coming up, I'm sure we'll be fine. And then all of the little creatures that live in the bush and that are very, very, very cold, they're gonna start moving around. Let's see. Alrighty. James, you'd like to know what my favorite leopard in this area is? I don't know. I'm leaving the door open for the leopards to come and surprise me, but I must say that when I was at Chitwa, I had a very, very cool sighting with Hosanna. So he's ranking pretty high at the moment. But I want to give Shongile and Tandy and the cub and Tamba, I want to give them all a fair chance. But I'm not too sure. But Hosanna was a very, very incredible leopard. He was stalking Impala and acting, like a fully grown territorial boy. I was very impressed with him. And also, of course, he is just stunning. He is a very, very pretty leopard. So we'll see. Who is it? Where are you making that noise, little Franklin? You see, all the birds are starting to wake up. Oh, hang on. Sorry. I just want to show you the chicks. Can you see the chicks of the Franklin on there? I think maybe that's why it was making such a noise. They've all run away. They look like tiny little chickens. But I think they've all run away. We're going to see if maybe the Franklin chicks come out now that they've calmed down a little bit. But in the meantime, let's go to Taylor and see what road she's on.
I feel like we need a song. I have a song for us, Sebastian. Are you ready? I can't feel my face when I'm on drive because I'm freezing. Because I'm freezing. That's how cold it is. It is freezing. Even my fingertips are cold through my gloves this morning. So just a quick update on that hyena that was whooping in the distance. I don't know where it is. We drove around. We couldn't see any tracks. We couldn't hear it again. But we then did hear some Impala alarming. So I drove into where the Impala were alarming. And then they stopped as we got there. So I don't know who they were shouting at. Again, quickly checked around, checked the roads, but couldn't find any tracks at all. So I think what we'll do is we'll go around the corner. We'll just go towards Sydney's dam. Just check there to see if there's not a lion perhaps sitting up on the dam wall. And then we'll come down Sandy Patch. Then we'll go up Aubrey's and we'll come down Shortcut Gallagher. That'll be our next sort of route because it doesn't seem to be anything around Impala Plains. We've just checked that, and the Power Lines Road. We've checked that quite well now. Unless something decides to move now and then walk over our tracks, which wouldn't surprise me too much. The animals have learned how to do this very, very, very well. There's a grey-headed bushra calling. Ah, squeeze. The roads are so clean this morning. There's not very many tracks. Normally the roads are littered with all sorts of prints from various animals moving around in the cover of darkness. Now, good morning, Donna. You're wondering if there are any animals out here that get a thicker coat during the winter months. Most certainly, just sort of as your dog and cat does going into the winter months, you see it quite with the Impala as well. It might not be evident to the naked eye, but you can just see they just look a lot fluffier than normal. So I'm sure they get a slightly thicker coat than normal, and then as the summer months come through, they'll lose it. However, remember, it's just cold in the mornings and just cold in the evenings here. The days are beautiful and warm, so they're not going to grow a coat like an animal that lives in the Antarctic would grow a winter coat to keep it warm throughout the entire day. It's really just for like I said, the nights and the mornings, and then they go back to normal. So it's not going to be an obvious one. Like, you can see how many eye layers I've got today. I've got about 57 jerseys on underneath every other jersey, so you can see I'm looking a bit on the puffy side. Whereas you don't see that quite sort of obviously with Impala and things like that. So it's just a slight, it's like they just put on their thermal underwear, just very subtle, but they definitely do get a thicker coat, just slightly thicker. Now, this is one of the favourite spots of the lions to cross in and out. Sydney's dam is on our left. Just check here nicely for tracks. Oh, I can't see anything. Just that elephant. Actually, I want to show you. So yesterday afternoon during the school drive, I was trying to find an elephant. There was a big elephant bull. Actually, the one Tristan had that had the big abscess under its stomach. We saw him again yesterday. And he had mud wallowed not too far away from here. And if you look just down on the ground in front of the car, you'll actually see that there's a mud trail just running along over here. And that's from him, of course, walking yesterday, and it's dripping off of his body. So there are still a couple of little mud wallows and things inside these massive blocks, I suppose you could call them, where there aren't always roads weaving in and out. And he had a good time over there. That's just some of the old elephant tracks. But he went north into the Manuleti, where we can't go. Let's go a little bit further and see if we pick up some more tracks. And a couple of buffalo also coming in, but that's from very early SM. Brent has climbed up pajamas and put his khakis on. He's out in Kenya. He's ready to say good morning.
Welcome to the magnificent Masai Mara on this sunrise safari. We're back with the only seems to be one male lion still on that buffalo carcass. My name is Brent Smith. I have Dangerous Dave the Dish Eastall on camera, and we have a surprise. It's popping out of the torrent for the first time from the Mara is Jamie.
I'm so excited.
Jamie.
Hi everybody. I made it.
You made it, yes.
Made it.
So Jamie is going to be with us in the vehicle, but you might not see too much of it. We're going to be learning roads and all that type of stuff. But what a way to start with lions and Jamie's favourite. And there's lots of them dotted around the grass, waiting for the lion to move away. So let's go. Okay, we've got one. There's a Thompson's gazelle in the background. If you go further down the road, Dave, there's another one. No, down the road, Dave. Other down. Wait, no, left. Zoom. There, coming towards us. Yep. There's another hyena. And so that's two. There's about 3 or 4 in the long grass we can't see. There's another one walking across. But there's probably about 15 or so hyenas. But obviously they're still not quite ready to take on the male lion. But looking at them, they all look pretty well fed. So there's no real need to risk their life and limb battling with a Mara king when there's probably they get their own food somewhere else. But they are, of course, opportunists, so they're waiting for him to move off. He has gone fast asleep. You can barely see him in the grass now. He's just to the left of the carcass. There we go, you can just make him out. Now, I've also got some very good news. We had a guides meeting last night with the Angama guides, and just behind you'll see a line of trees. Now that is called the Twin Streams. There's 2 streams there, and one of the Olololo lionesses, who is sort of an offshoot of the Angama Pride. They came from the Marsh Pride in 2014 together, have had 3 tiny little cubs. So what we're going to do is we're going to drive around and we're going to hope, to all hopes, we manage to spot those tiny little cubs in that drainage system. And especially while the big boy's head is down, there's not much to see apart from the odd hooded vulture who's still lurking about. But it is going to be a very exciting morning. So remember, hashtag Safari Live if you've got any questions for us. And we are live from Kenya. So we really need to get moving, and so we can drive all the way around to that drainage system to see if we can find the cubs.
I have a question.
Jamie has a question.
Which male lion is this?
Oh, which male lion is this? That is a very, very, very... No, you're not allowed to sit up. That is against park rules. Naughty Jamie.
Rebel.
So Jamie's wondering which lion. It's a part of a 4-male lion coalition. They are currently unnamed. They're sometimes called the Angama Boys. I've started nicknaming them the Triangle Boys, but they're not named yet. But there are 4 of them. Well, there were 3 here the other day, and one was off mating with one of the Angama lionesses down near the Samaki swamp. Okay, well, we're going to move on. While we do that, let's zoom all the way back to Djuma to see what's happening in the Greater Kruger.
Brent and Jamie together, yay! So happy Jamie got there safely, and now that they're getting to know all these fantastic animals in the Mara, isn't that super cool? I'm sure Jamie is very, very happy right now, and well, probably so is Brent, but Jamie more. We haven't been too lucky finding too many things around here. We're just going around Twin Dams area, just the southern section, see if maybe we could find any tracks of that male lion around, maybe tracks for you know, the royal prince and princess around Twin Dams because it was an area that they liked, but it seems like we haven't been that lucky down here. Seems it's still quite cold, maybe because we're so close to drainage lines. So we're gonna start heading into areas that are a bit higher up, see if maybe that will change our luck, because higher up is a bit warmer, because as you know, the cold air sinks, so the lower you are, the colder it is. And if we go slightly up, like quarantine especially during the night or in the mornings, it's very nice and toasty, very nice and warm. But in the meantime, we are enjoying a very, very pretty scenery. It's amazing to see how much the bush has changed over here in just a few weeks. You see all the bush willows have started to put their leaves in a yellow color. No more, what do you call it? No more seed pods on the trees. William, yes, the grass is getting very, very brown and yellowish very quickly now. I think within the next few weeks where it's going to be slightly better for us going on drive, because then we're going to be able to see further into the bush. Just because the grass is going to be slightly thinner as well, and nice leaves and everything else around. Do you see, I just want to, let's see something that's quite interesting. Can you just go onto the yellow leaves? I just want to grab a leaf from the floor quickly and I'll plug myself back in. Do you see this leaves that we're looking at? It belongs to a bush willow, particularly a russet bush willow. So I just want to grab one of the leaves of this dead branch here so that we can have a look at something interesting, because I'm sure you guys have noticed as well that, sorry, I'm coming this way, that in winter a lot of the trees, their leaves start becoming, let me just plug myself in, start becoming yellow, and there's no more of that beautiful green, and just feels like in general we're changing season. So it happens also here, but what's quite interesting is you see all of the colors in the yellow and the green, it doesn't really change. The tree doesn't start producing them only for winter, and it's not like all of a sudden, you know, oh, the tree is yellow, or the leaves are yellow rather. Funny enough, these are different color pigments that the leaves have got inside of their structure, but because the light changes, the UV light isn't as strong, and the tree is not going to spend that much energy trying to produce food using the chlorophyll, which is the green pigment, then it's going to start exposing the yellow and the orange pigments a lot more than when it's going to start exposing the green ones. So it's just a way of pretty much conserving energy, because the green pigment, that is what manages to capture the light and then produce the food in the process of photosynthesis. Oh my goodness, if I could talk. Then that's the one that's going to slowly start drying out, or it's going to become less dominant amongst the pigment colors, and then the rest of them are going to be there, and they're still going to help produce food, but not as much as the other ones. So it's always lovely to see, you know, you see when the trees are almost going into like this dormant state, because you start seeing a lot more colors. And what's fascinating to me is that they are there all throughout the year, the green and the oranges. We just don't see them because the green is so much more dominant on the leaf that it's almost like a game of camouflage. The trees pretending it's like, oh well, I never had orange, and then it's just like boom, oranges everywhere and red, and it becomes very, very pretty. I think I dropped something, or I'm gonna drop myself. All right, but having said that, the trees are getting there, not quite orangey yet, but I'm sure we'll manage to show you guys as the weeks goes by many pretty, there we go, plugged in again, many pretty leaves. I think this time, and I'm sure if you've got oaks wherever you live, and you know, you see them, and the change of season is a lot more obvious, and it becomes very, very pretty. Ah, this is a tree I haven't seen here. Sorry, this one, no leaves. This particular middle one, and I just want to show it to you guys because it's quite a common tree in some other areas of Africa, and it's got very important uses. So this, sorry, Djuma never ceases to surprise me, because as you're driving along, there will be a tree that you're like, oh, but I've never seen this tree before here. This particular one, you see, it looks very similar to some of the strychnos that we've got around here, but the bark is just very diagnostic. It's very shiny, so it's called a poison corkwood. So in some areas, maybe more a bit towards Namibia, where the San people still live in the bush and they hunt traditionally and everything else, they make use of a little moth that actually comes and there starts pupating, so it attaches itself onto the bark of the tree and it starts pupating, feeding on the sap, on the toxic sap of the tree. So what they do is they'll use it and they'll grab them and then they'll squeeze them onto the tip of an arrow. And when they go hunting, particularly giraffe, they say that, if they apply enough of that poison of the moth onto the arrow, they'll be able to bring a giraffe down in about maybe 20 minutes or so. So obviously they've got to know where to hit it, but it's amazing that it all comes from a tiny insect that lives in a deadly tree. But it's pretty. I think this is my first corkwood in Djuma, because I've been keeping a tree list for Djuma. So lots of pretty things and lots of unusual ones too. But alright, let's not digress too much with the trees and we'll carry on. And we'll see if maybe we can see some other things with a heartbeat. We're gonna carry on looking for anything with a heartbeat, as one would say. But in the meantime, let's go see Taylor and see what she's got.
I was trying to desperately get hold of Ellie while she was live because the Styx Pride were just on Chitwa, but unfortunately it sounds like they've now crossed into Torchwood. But who knows, maybe they come this side again. They're venturing closer and closer to these areas. Those silly cats. But we're on a Gallagher shortcut now and we're just checking around here to see if we have any luck. But sadly we haven't really had much luck at all, barring a very small group of Impala which we saw earlier. Again, it's quiet, Sebastian, but we seem to have these very quiet patches in the beginning and then the action all happens at the end, which I suppose we can't really complain about. But anyways, maybe we get lucky even with just one lioness or a hyena, or like Sebastian has requested, is loads and loads of elephants. So that's going to be our goal. I'm not sure what else will be on the cards for us this morning. What's so nice about winter is just as you think, oh, it's too light, we're not going to see anything, then you remember that the temperatures are only just starting to warm up now. So we haven't even had the dawn chorus yet. I have not heard it. So quite interesting. And then, of course, the cats might also find themselves just warming themselves up in this lovely morning light, because that's what I would be doing. Moving around and then just pausing briefly and enjoying the warmth. It is nice when we get a couple of rays. The sun is not so cold anymore. Okay, let's keep searching around here. It's very difficult at the moment. I don't know, the animals haven't quite decided if they like Djuma or not. They pop in and then they disappear and then they pop back out again for a few days. But let's try our luck. Otherwise, maybe, Sebastian, maybe we need to go all the way towards Buffelshoek Dam or something along those lines and go and check the northern sector. I think that could be another chance for us this morning. But let's have a look-see. There was one set of male tracks of the lion tracks as well I saw going towards the gate, but I didn't see them any of the other roads we were driving on, so I can only presume that it must have crossed out somewhere where I just missed his tracks. Maybe back in towards Simbambili, or perhaps back into the northern sectors of Buffelshoek and then into Manuleti, where all the buffalo are just laying and waiting. And that's what they're going to do, is as soon as they find big herds of buffalo, they're just going to follow them around all the time. Now, Alison, hi, you are asking if we can find a buffalo today. We will try. I haven't seen any fresh tracks. There were some tracks from some buffalo that had crossed in yesterday, but other than that, nothing just yet. But as we start heading down towards maybe Nyala Road, somewhere around there, Buffelshoek Dam, we might see one. We've seen a couple of Duggar boys hanging about here too. There is definitely a chance. What I'd love to show you, I'd love to try and show you more than one buffalo. I'd actually like to try and show you an entire herd of them, which would be really quite nice. And then eventually a little bit later we'll go back and we'll just keep checking the hyena den on and off the entire morning, and hopefully as we go there we might get lucky and catch them out of the den. Right, just check here. Sand is so nice and soft here as well. It's also a good point. We often see lots of tracks from various animals. Yep. Right, nothing here though, not today. It's amazing. 1 minute, tracks everywhere. The next day, not even a sign. Okay, but we'll jump out here and have a look at some. Hopefully we've got some. Watch, but what we won't now. Nothing down that way. Anything down here? How crazy is that? Not even an Impala track here. Just vehicle tracks. Oh, there's some bird tracks. Probably from a thickney, maybe a Corsa or something along those lines, but otherwise not even a hyena footprint. That is unusual. I wonder where they all are. Oh, it's nice here. This is lovely. I think we're just going to drive up and down before the cut line on the high points and keep warm. Okay. Where are these animals? Now this is quite a great road as well, because it does give you the opportunity to stare very far into the distance and see if anything is crossing in front of you. It doesn't look like there's anything just yet. And Sarah from Ohio was wondering how cold it gets in South Africa. The temperature varies quite significantly. It depends whereabouts you are. If you're along the coast, your winters can be quite cold because you have a lot of rain and a lot of wind, so it becomes quite icy down along the coast, lots of frost. As soon as you sort of move a little bit more inland, then the temperatures are quite beautiful. Like Johannesburg has to have some of the most amazing weather in the country. Big thunderstorms in summer months, but literally within an hour they're over and it goes back to the original temperature. And then it can drop down if you go sort of towards the Drakensberg mountains and into the Karoo and those areas. It can definitely get below zero during the freezing cold evenings, but otherwise the temperature is quite nice. Normally warm days and then cooler evenings in the winter months. Here this time of the year in the Lowveld, it's my absolute favorite because we've got very cold mornings and evenings, but the days are so beautiful that it's warm enough that you could still go swimming, which is really cool. So you get the best of both. You get to snuggle up nicely and put your winter woolies on for the first couple of hours, but then you're still able to, like I was saying yesterday, you can still go barefoot, shorts and a t-shirt. And if you really wanted to, what is in the roads, Sebastian? You see very far down there on the next rise? What is that? Please be a lion. Please, please, please be a lion. Go down a little bit. Drop down just a touch. A little bit more.
I thought you were talking about that thing.
No, that's dung. No, I must be imagining it. Is there nothing in the road? I don't know what I'm seeing. It must just be that patch, that weird patch of sand. I think that's what I'm actually looking at. But from what we can see, it actually looks like there's something sitting. But it's obviously not. It's obviously just a pile of sand in the middle. Right. I'm going to go and investigate my sand that looks very much like a lion, and maybe I shall find a lion there. It'll magic itself into a cat. Ellie is still bumbling about on this frosty morning. I hope that she's going to have a little bit more luck than we are.
Almost there, almost there. I think you guys are going to be very happy to see this very pretty girl. Hopefully she'll be able to also show us her pretty tiny cub. So yay! We've managed to make it all the way to the hyena den, and everything seems to be very, very happy. What day is it today? Saturday morning. And there she is, just enjoying some peace and quiet. Now, I haven't been able to get to know many of the hyenas of Djuma, so if you guys have an ID for this particular female, and if she's one of the dominant ones, please do use the hashtag Safari Live and just let us know which one she is, and then maybe we can take a guess at, the possibility or the possible age of the cubs that are in there that we are hoping to see. there's anything that's still quite dark, like little hyena cubs are, I'll be super happy to see. I think maybe they were, because we came and checked a few times. Taylor came and checked in the morning, I came and checked twice in the afternoon. So I think yesterday, because of all the lions that were moving around and roaring and not too far from this area, I think they just decided that it was probably safer not to come out and just keep the little ones inside. Because lions will kill hyena cubs, or just fight hyenas in general, because they all compete for the same type of food for the same area. So they don't really have a very good relationship. That's why a lot of people call them the eternal enemies, or a very dramatic title along those lines. So I think maybe this one's just now decided to return, and she's been pretty much sleeping the whole morning just around here, and every now and again it's just apparently she's raised her head, and that's about it. So I think maybe she's had quite a night of foraging around looking for food, and then she's finally returned to the safety of this very pretty den. So peaceful, isn't it? Thank you, girls, for sending your comments. So apparently we've got Ribbon that we're looking at. Nice to meet you, Ribbon. I've heard lots about you. I think the part that they didn't tell me was that you were able to sleep so peacefully. It's almost like, when you want to wake up Saturday morning, but it's way too hard, and you just turn around and you toss and turn and you open one eye, and it's like, maybe I'll get up, but then it's just like, oh no, there's nothing really keeping me awake. BB, you'd like to know if Ribbon still has both cubs. I'm not too sure. I hope she does. We're just gonna patiently sit here and wait, and hopefully as it starts getting warmer, maybe she'll call them out, and then we'll be able to answer that together. Not too sure yet. They've been a bit shy lately, apparently, or in the last few days, let's put it that way. So I'm hoping that at one point she's gonna just bring them all out, and we'll be able to see who's around and who's not around. But you see, the sun, I'm sure if we wait enough, the sun that's just starting on the eastern side of the termite mound is eventually going to start hitting her, or it's going to start warming her up, which could potentially cause her to move, and maybe the little ones will come around. So I think we can patiently sit around here, just spend some time with some lovely hyenas. We were very lucky yesterday to spend a lot of time with many different lions, so I think any African predator is worth spending time with. Never ceases to amaze me how they manage to use these termite mounds, and they're just so completely hidden away. You would never know that they're here. And also, just if you see from this distance, we know where to look for the shape of her neck and her ears and everything else, but if you were to just drive past quickly, you would never see it. Imagine, for example, if you had to do a self-drive in Kruger National Park, where you just have to stick to the tar road and you go to, an average speed of maybe 40-50 kilometers an hour, depending on the type of road that you're in. Imagine how easy it would be to just drive past and never see them. Oh, we can hear a leopard. Maybe did that sound around Shibamu to you, Craig? Michael, the older the cubs, the less time the mother has to spend at the den. When they're very, very small, they have to come often to suckle them and give them milk. And as they start growing up, then they will have to return quite often just to bring them food. So when they're very, very small, you'll see the mother would spend maybe 60-70% of her time around here. And then as they start getting older, you know, that amount of time starts eventually becoming less and less and less. Sorry, I just want to update everyone about the... if anyone's interested, also, I'm sitting at the Misikai and I just had audio for Ingwe. Sounds maybe around Shibamu area. Okay, Ralph, I'm gonna stick around with the Misikaya, but if you want to follow up around that area, you're welcome to. Copy. Sorry, just had to let everyone know because we could hear a leopard pretty much east from us. Yeah, and south and east direction of where we are, so hopefully there will be somewhere around, because I know there are a few vehicles working around there, so it's always good to let them know. Now that we are here and sitting, we can hear what's happening, which normally you can't if you're driving, because you can imagine, you know you're moving and the steering wheel makes a noise, and then the wind in your ears and everything else, so it doesn't really let you hear everything that's going on. But who knows, hopefully there will be something around. Obviously still quite at a distance that the hyena has heard it and doesn't feel bothered whatsoever by the leopard that's calling out in the distance. Had the leopard maybe been calling a bit closer to us, and likely she would have put her head up and maybe retreated back into the den, or just gone around to investigate what was happening. I think it's safe to say that we are not too close to where that leopard sounded that it was calling from. Right, we've got another theory of who this one might be. Some people are saying maybe Scarback and not Ribbon. I think maybe the easiest way is just to, like I said, let's just be patient, and maybe if she wakes up and glances in this direction, we'll be able to have a bit of a better look at her, because at the moment she's giving us her back just to make it harder for all of us to try and figure out who she is. Maybe if you manage to see some of the spots on her shoulders, any pattern that might pop up. And just think, crazy how the sun has been moving. We've been sitting here for maybe 5 minutes, and then it's just slowly but surely starting to move up to her. So I'm sure in the next 10-15 minutes she'll be completely exposed to the sun. You see, it's also the fact that they're denning in a termite mound pretty much shows that nothing goes to waste out in the bush. Oh, hello. Are you going to show us your face? I think she might start actually getting warm now. Yeah, so like I was saying, pretty much nothing goes to waste. These old termite mounds, they've been standing here for sometimes for over 200 years, 150 years or so on. And even with all of the termites have either moved off or died off, it's amazing the amount of animals that actually come and make use of the different termite mounds. We saw yesterday, we have mongoose, different species of mongoose, dwarf mongoose, banded mongoose, slender mongoose, all of them moving around in here. And then we've also got sometimes the lizards that go in there and live with the mongoose. We've got the aardvarks that, if they find a big hole, they'll go in there. Porcupines and make use of termite mounds. Warthogs make use of termite mounds. Leopards can use termite mounds. So I think, we should give them a bit more credit for actually, as I say, being the engineering, but not only in the way that they tend to modify the bush and the vegetation around them, but also in the amount of housing they provide for so many creatures around. I mean, I'm sure if we had to draw a list, we could easily come up with at least 10-15 species. This is a very placid Saturday morning for her. It is Saturday today, isn't it, Craig? Or is it Sunday? Alright, well, we hope it's Saturday. If not. Catherine, the hyena is definitely okay. I think she's just very tired. Could have been that she spent the whole night moving around and just looking for food, and if she managed to get something, then she'll come back, because they, at this time of the year, they start moving quite a bit. And as a matter of fact, before we started game drive today, there were a few calling, so I wouldn't put it past her to have been the one that was making the noise, just coming back to the den run about, I would say maybe 6 o'clock in the morning, 5:30, after a night out looking for food. So I think she's just very tired. I mean, if you can imagine, they can walk a lot of kilometers during the night, and then, you know, sometimes it can be stressful. They can bump into lions, they can bump into leopards, they can bump into other hyenas. So I think this one's just gotten back, and it's a nice, safe place for her to sleep. So she's just very relaxed and very sleepy. I think maybe her and Tristan are looking alike right now. I don't think Tristan's too awake either. Alright, I think the next 5 minutes or so, she'll have the sun in her face. We're going to sit around with our mystery hyena for the time being, but let's go over to Taylor and see if she's had any more luck and not freezing her face.
Not just yet. However, Ali, after you mentioned on the Game Drive radio that you had audio of a leopard around Shibamu, we're making our way down this side. We've seen many sets of tracks left behind by various animals, but unfortunately just heading into Buffelshoek out of our reach. We had some male leopard tracks, but they crossed north over our area that we can traverse in, and I'm not sure who that could have been. It was right up near Buffelshoek Dam. So we're just on Central at the moment. We're going to come out here at Gari cut line, and then we'll go over the dam wall, and hopefully it's not too late. We move into that area where you said you had that audio. So that's the plan, and also as we're going along, we're also checking for other animals. There's been a bit of activity of elephants, but I haven't seen any of the elephants yet, so I wonder if they just haven't gone moving through a thick part of vegetation at the moment, just hiding out of our view. But hopefully they'll also pop out as the morning progresses. But let's see, this is always a good favorite spot of the Nkuhumas, and it doesn't look like anybody has actually driven here just yet. We'll just have a quick scan around, check on some of these patches down here in this drainage system where the sun is just opening up. But nothing just yet. Come on, we need to see a bird. Maybe a white-browed scrub robin would be a good bird to see. Now, sorry, Chantal, please can I have that name again? I'm just hearing, Bill? B-I-L-L? Yes, Bill, okay. Sometimes it's always quite funny trying to kind of get the names out. Sometimes they just come out as one syllable, and then you now have to guess which name it could possibly be. But Bill, you're wondering if the snakes have gone into the ground yet as the colder weather sort of approaches. Not quite, sort of. The snakes out here don't necessarily hibernate so much. Going past the dam now, nothing sunning itself just yet, but they'll be around. I always think that this time of the year we have more chance of seeing snakes. I've seen more snakes coming into winter because obviously the nights are quite cold, but the days are warm enough for them to move around a little bit still. So the temperature's still probably, I mean, you see every afternoon we're about between 75 and 78 degrees Fahrenheit, so that's more than warm enough for snakes to move around in. So they might move around during the day, and then they come out sometimes at night, sitting on the roads trying to get the last of the warmth. So don't write the snakes off just yet. It's the same thing with tortoises. You think that they all go, and then every now and then we might have some surprise sightings of them when it does get quite hot, and they will just come out. So they sort of go into estivation, which is not quite a permanent type of hibernation process. It's just when it's cold they hide away, when it's warm they then come out and carry on. But they all would have tried to eat as much as they can and stock up for the cooler months, because we could get a cold spell where it's freezing for, you know, a week or so, and then have no activity at all. But as soon as it warms up, they will come back out again. Okay, so Ali said around Shibamu. We're on quarantine now. Now I don't know who it could be making a noise. Maybe Tingana. Let's have to go and see. We'll just check what the animals are doing up here, because if they're starting to look a little bit like they're a bit nervous, then perhaps this leopard is coming this way. Now it's difficult to tell what direction it was going, and especially if it only called once, it won't give you an indication obviously if the sound is getting further away or coming closer. But we'll see. Oh, hello guys. Look at all the starlings warming themselves up. That's quite nice in that knobwood tree. Knobthorn, Taylor. Knobthorn, not knobwood. There they all are. Good morning, starlings. All having a preen. You can see their Cape Lussie starlings with that bright orange eye. And I'm sure that they are very excited. And then there's a couple of buffalo weavers. Red-billed buffalo weavers. Oh, just picked a twig. And I'm sure... and dropped it. Don't say your mate is going to have to pick it up. Did you see that? Broke it, dropped it down. Its mate has now collected it. Whether they're going to fly off to a nest somewhere else, or perhaps they're planning on building one here. I'm not so sure. Now, Gary, you were wondering, with Karula being gone, how is this going to affect the leopard territories? It is quite interesting. It obviously leaves room for many other leopards to move in, but they'll be reluctant to come here straight away. It's going to be a slow process, and we've already seen, or I haven't seen, but the other presenters have seen Tundi and Tamba moving in, and I think I had tracks a couple of times on Mumba Road, and I think that it was Tundi and Tamba's tracks that we had that was causing quite a bit of commotion and confusion about a month back now. So slowly they're going to start realizing, they're going to come in, they're going to notice, hey, hang on, there's no more scent of a leopard living in this area. The scents are going to get less and less, and eventually they're just going to start coming through and claiming those spots for themselves. So we might see Shadow even moving a little bit further in, or maybe there's a young leopard elsewhere that hasn't quite established herself yet. Maybe she'll come and join us here, which would be quite nice. It'd be nice if we got some sort of new blood moving into the Djuma territory. Good morning, boys. Are you also waking up? They're looking lovely. But again, you can see their coats aren't as slick as what they normally are, just because it is freezing, as we've been chatting about the whole morning. But it's nice now. It's not too bad at all. And I reckon in the next 30 minutes or so, they'll go back to being lovely, shiny, flat coats. It's already warming up, just as we stop moving. Isn't that nice? Hello, boys. But a lovely bachelor herd nonetheless. Well, we're not too far away from Shibamu now. We'll keep heading down and back towards that side. Brent has beat us yet again in finding some elephants.
Welcome back to incredible Kenya and the Masai Mara. We're with a lovely big old elephant bull. Hello, big boy. Now, I have seen him before, quite a few times actually, in this area below Angama. So we do see him quite often. So it's always nice to catch up with him. And he's got an askari with him. Now, an askari in Swahili means basically a guard or a bodyguard. And it's very common, especially in East Africa, less common in Southern Africa, that you'll find an older bull who's accompanied by a younger bull. And so that's what we've got here. And there's the younger bull. And here's the askari, the eyes and ears for the old man. Remember, hashtag Safari Live if you've got any questions for us. And we've checked this whole lugger that we're next to, and we think we found the spot where the Ngama guides told me the lion den is, but it was quite difficult to see, and it doesn't look like Mom's there. So we've moved on. We will, excuse me, check it again at another stage. What else is out on the open plain, Dave? There's some topi and more elephants. Here we go, isn't that beautiful? Is that a big herd of buffalo as well in the background to the right? Oh, there we go. Some buffalo in the Samaki swamp in the distance. I didn't even see them till we zoomed in. Hi, Kim. Kim is wondering, when will the Great Migration start? Now, Kim, it's all dependent on rainfall and weather patterns, but this year it looks like it's going to start a little bit earlier than normal. Normally it arrives in Kenya in early July. I think this year it's going to arrive probably middle of this month. But any time from June to July they arrive in Kenya, and then they spend June, July, August, September, and a bit of October in Kenya before they then follow the rains down south back into the Serengeti. So peaceful with big ellies. I'm always double checking while we're out on an open plain like this, just to make sure there's not something else about. Luke's wondering, why can't we stand in the vehicles in the Mara? Well, Luke, I'm actually standing right now. So you can, and one of the reasons these type of vehicles we can stand in is because it's not open. So I'm standing out of the roof, so I'm still not braking. And see, there we go, you can see all my paraphernalia, monitors and stuff. So I'm standing on my seat at the moment and looking out. So you can stand in the vehicles in the Mara. It's because they're not open, so you don't actually give that full bipedal figure. You just sort of give from the waist up. Well, in my case, from the waist up. In most people's cases, from about the chest up. Even Dave's. Oh, poor Dave. It's okay. One day you'll grow.
Thanks.
No problem. So, yeah. So you can stand in the vehicles in the Mara. The reason you don't stand in the open vehicles in the Sabi Sands is because you show the bipedal figure of man, which is the dominant diurnal predator, which could cause the animals either to run away or get angry, neither of which, of course, we want. Oh, where's my binoculars? Do you see what I've seen, Dave? I don't think you have. I think it's some yellow-billed storks in a tree. So, there we go. And more elephants. Anna-Marie is wondering how far into the horizon we can see there. Now, Anna-Marie, where those elephants are there and that other safari vehicle is probably close on 2 kilometers away from us. But if we go down towards the Samaki swamp, a little bit more to the right, I can probably see, on the horizon, 5Ks, 6Ks. And then if we, there we go, no, a little bit more to the right. You see the gap where the green is? We can see beyond. No, just come out a bit. So I just want to see where you are. Look, more to the right. More to the right, more to the right. There. No, a little bit more. Little bit more. There we go. You can see through that gap there. You can probably see more than 5 or 6 kilometers. And you can see how far that is. And if we go, can you get the escarpment in, Darby? So, and looking down the escarpment, I can probably see 15 or 20 Ks down the Olololo escarpment. Right down, I think I can almost see, well, I can almost see Tanzania down at the bottom end of that escarpment there. So we can see massive distances out here, and that's why the most important tool out here when you're out in the Mara, and those who remember from yesterday, I was teaching you about far lookers. So my far lookers are the most important thing to find animals out here in the Mara, because we can see so far. Now, speaking of distance, we've still got quite a long way to travel, and we're going to keep moving around. I'm going to see if we can catch up with the Angama girls. I heard they were not too far away from here, probably about 3 or 4 kilometers. So we're going to go see if we can see them, and I'm hoping they're going to be in the off-roading zone. Now, while we continue on our Mara missions, let's see how Ali's Djuma mission is going.
Well, we have decided to go into a mission of our own. Unfortunately, there were other vehicles that wanted to come and have a look at the hyena den, so we couldn't stay there. We're going to try going back a bit later, see if perhaps the cubs come out, and we managed to see one of them. But we've decided to now go and try and follow up on that leopard call that we heard while we were at the hyena den. So Taylor's helping us. She's checking one of the other roads and we're checking this one here because it sounded like it wasn't too far away. So we're hoping that maybe we'll see a track somewhere along the road, or perhaps spot it sleeping on a tree. That would be the best thing that could happen. But anyway, while we make a bit of time, it's always good to go on a leopard mission and see if maybe we cannot find them. Why not? No ideas as to which one it could be, but it was definitely calling not too far. So we'll see. We'll see who we can find around. For now though, it seems like there haven't been any tracks on the road, and I know some of the other vehicles came around here and sort of did a quick scan of the area but couldn't find anything. So let's see, maybe Team Taylor and Ali will get lucky. John, you'd like to know what my favorite animal is. My favorite animals are rhinos because they are very big and they make very squeaky, high-pitched noises like me. So it was a match made in heaven for me. But I like lions and leopards and, honey badgers and hyenas and elephants and all sorts of things. So it's very hard, I think, depending on the time. I'll like one of them more than the other ones, but I think rhinos are at the top of the list pretty much all the time. White rhinos, that is. I had to raise a black rhino, or help with the black rhino, and she was a bit moody. She wasn't too friendly. Many times I had bruises on my legs with a triangle shape of her horn because she either wanted more pellets or she wanted to get into my room, or so on and so on and so on. She was very, very, very naughty. Very naughty rhino, and her name was Landela, which means the one that follows, because black rhinos normally what they do is they follow their mother. So this is why they decided to give her their name, especially if they're escaping. So you'll see the mother will go in front and the little one would go behind, whereas with white rhinos the little one goes in front, and if they're escaping from anything then the mother just gives it a bit of a nudge and then tells it where to go. I don't know if maybe it's worth listening out here again. We didn't hear it again. Nothing around here. Let's see. No tracks around here. What is that over there? Just want to check. No. No. Let's see. Nothing around here. Let's see. Maybe we'll have a bit more luck around here. Let's maybe see how Taylor's search is going. Taylor, probably Taylor. Okay, seems like Taylor's managed to pick up the tracks at a bit of a distance from here. She's heading toward Twin Dams area. So let's see if maybe there's something around there. Let's see. Alright. Seeing Taylor is a step ahead of us and she's managed to find some of the tracks. Let's go over to her and see how the leopard mission is going.
We've just picked up on some male leopard tracks coming through here, and now the go-away birds were shouting. The rollers were also giving a bit of an alarm call, so I just stopped to listen. But everyone's just stopped calling now. I just want to go a bit further forward. The tracks were coming along here, and let's see if I can find any more fresh ones. I can show you. Oh, now they're not on the road anymore, so possible whoever this bird is has gone down into the drainage line. Rex is also coming to give a hand, so I'm just going to keep my game drive radio on slightly so that we can keep tabs as to what's actually going on. Hang on. What's happening? Oh no. Okay, no. I thought that they'd found something exciting at the Buffelshoek signs on the cut line, but it seems as though Taxon was just updating where he was, what his location was. Now I don't have any more tracks. Those birds also could have just been a little bit chatty, because everyone's starting to wake up now. We're going to slowly start to hear all the chirping birds. Like I said, it hasn't quite happened just yet. It's so thick in this drainage line, it makes it very difficult to try and see what's actually going on. Let's look in here. Now, and this is the problem. While the vegetation is still so thick, even if you are only a step behind. Hello, babblers. Babblers are calling now. I think there's gremlins here. Right, it seems as though there's a couple of gremlins here. I'm going to keep searching around here. Hopefully we're going to hear the leopard and it'll give his presence away, but let's go back across to Ali.
Well, seeing Taylor had tracks going towards the southern boundary, we just thought it would be better to just go around and maybe check the boundary itself, just in case this leopard has decided to move out, because ideally we don't both want to drive on the same road, because she's working that road, I'm working this road, and we're working together, and the last thing we want is to actually go and squash any tracks for each other. So hopefully this leopard will be somewhere around here. Let's see. Just want to let Taylor know what our plan is. Taylor, Ferrari, Taylor. Taylor, Ferrari, Taylor. Nothing around here. Sorry guys, just a bit of radio banter, just trying to find out what's happening around here. Just wanted to find out if you've come right, because I was gonna go around Gowrie Main, but if you and Rex are working the area, I might just move out. Okay, copy. Alrighty, so the plot thickens. We had also male leopard tracks yesterday morning with Seb in an area where they're checking not too far. So it could be that this particular leopard has been moving up and down there during the night. So I'm gonna go check, or we are gonna go check one of the roads that are not too far from that general area, just to see if perhaps we cannot give them a hand a bit further away from where the leopard actually was calling. They can cover quite a bit of a distance, and I mean, it was, I think, over a half an hour ago that we heard him, so he could very well be moving around. Let's see what's around here. Not too much. you're 12 years old and you want to know if all the guides that we see are from South Africa. Yes and no. A lot of them are from South Africa, or the majority of them are. Some of them are from Zimbabwe, which is another country that's very close to South Africa. And then some of them, like me, come from very, very different countries. So I am actually from South America, so I come from quite far away, but I just love the African bush very much. So in my time that I've been here, I've met a lot of guides that are from Italy, from Spain, a lot of them from the UK. Just want to see that our antenna's not gonna die with this marula tree over here. Alright, sorry, just want to make sure that we don't bump our antenna down. Perfect. And yeah, I've pretty much met guides from a lot of different countries. So if you want to become a ranger one day and you want to come work in Africa, hopefully you'll be able to do so. And Safari Live is a good way of start learning a few things. So if you do decide to come, then you'll have a few tricks up your sleeve already. Alright. Let's see, nothing around here just yet. Lisa, I think Craig should answer this question. Do you guys get motion sickness while you ride at the back of the vehicle? No, not particularly. Well, I don't think Seb looked green either yesterday, so I think maybe not. I think the guys are fine. Otherwise it would be quite hard. Can you imagine if you got sick, having to do this job every day, twice a day? I think Greg is smiling, so he's definitely not camera sick right now. Alright, I am hoping that we're gonna turn around and see this leopard perched on top of a termite mound. Maybe Tingana somewhere around here, seeing it was male leopard tracks that Taylor found. Maybe Impala, maybe somebody we don't know. Who knows? Let's see. Hello, little dove. There's been some road grading now. As you can see, the roads now at this time of the year, they have to start being maintained quite a bit, just because also everything starts getting so dry that if we have a fire, then you've got to make sure that, you know, the fire is not able to jump from one side of the road to the other. So the main road is, I would say, maybe 15 meters to our right. I'm not very good at gauging distance, but it's not too far. So if there were a fire to jump in here, so this fire break would at least, you know, stop the fire from going into the rest of Djuma and burning everything down. So at this time of the year, it's very important for the habitat management of any reserve, just to make sure that things are very well kept and well maintained. Just, you know, because we might get a late storm with lots of thunder and lightning, which has happened in the past, and that's not ideal. Sometimes when it's very, very dry, somebody just, you know, forgets a cigarette, or, you know, it just happens that all of this will go up in flames. And about 2 years ago, I think it was 3 years ago now, we had a massive fire in the northern Sabi Sand and in the southern Sabi Sand, and it was not a very pretty thing to see, because massive areas were burnt down and lots of animals unfortunately died, and it was, yeah, it was not pretty. So obviously everybody worked very, very hard and, you know, put endless hours just trying to prevent things from burning. But one of the first things to do is just maintaining fire breaks, as we were saying. So we were just driving on Djuma's fire break, and it seems to be 100%. Ah, well, hello. Haven't seen you guys this morning. Danny, you'd like to know the difference between animal populations between now and 10 years ago. I'm sure there are a lot of animal differences in animal populations. It is believed that we have way too many buffalo and hippos nowadays because of the excess of water that we've put all around in the habitat management. I think in general in southern Africa we are experiencing less numbers of lions and potentially other predators like leopards. I think the bird population for hornbills, it's still quite alright. They're still quite cheeky and living. I'm sorry, I just want to get out of the way for Rex to be able to move past us in the search for the leopard. There we go. Bye-bye. So yeah, it's some things we do have a lot more right now. For example, Impala in the last 10 years, apparently their population has managed to double. Then for some other species of antelope, for example, like roan, antelope, and eland, they're still very, very rare, especially all around this area in the Kruger National Park. In the way that we've tried to manage, or scientists have tried to manage the Kruger National Park, and in general just big conservation areas, they don't have a recipe. They don't really know what to do. They can just get all the data and try to choose a way of doing things that they believe, or that, all of their studies have shown that this is the best way going forward and of doing things. And one of the things they did about 10 years ago was they opened a lot of water holes all around the Kruger National Park, and that had a big impact in the population dynamics and how many animals there are, or of different things. Because in some areas, if you don't have water, a lot of the animals don't go there, and if you don't have favorable conditions and not enough food and water, then you'll get less of them. So I think in the last 2 years, the Kruger Park just decided to start bombing a lot of different water holes and then just taking them down to kind of swap around the management of what they've been doing. And precisely because we now have in Kruger National Park, apparently since the 80s, we've only had very, very few elephants poached. So the elephant population has gone up massively. Buffalo populations also have gone up massively. They had a big die-off of anthrax, I think, in the 60s, if I'm not mistaken. So the population has gone up. I mean, in the last 10 years, hippos definitely have gone up. I think leopards are probably roughly the same. Lions, according to general studies in all of the world, they've roughly go down a little bit. Rhinos have definitely gone down due to poaching. What else? And I think that's pretty much all I can think of. So in the meantime, why don't we go over to Taylor and see how she feels giraffe populations have been doing in the last 10 years.
I'm counting 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, I'll tell you why now, 24, 25, 25 chews. Until that giraffe decided to swallow the ball of cud that it had regurgitated. So sorry about that. I was just doing a little experiment there. And we'll try and count it again to see if we can get an average on how many times a giraffe actually chews that ball before it does a big swallow. It should regurgitate another ball. There it is. And he's a lovely looking fella. I haven't seen giraffe in quite some time. Well, I saw a whole lot while I was on holiday. The Mapungubwe is filled with them, which is really quite nice to see. But this is a beautiful big male. You can see just by his darker color, he's also got a couple of scratches and scabs covering his body. But that's all just from battling it out with other males, or might have had an itchy patch on his body, which he then rubbed the hair away. Sometimes that happens. Well, it doesn't sometimes. It happens actually quite often with the animals out here, especially with all the parasites that they have on their bodies. Now, I don't see any oxpeckers just yet, which is unusual, seeing as though it has warmed up. I thought that they would have already taken flight for the morning, searching for a target to land on. And I think the giraffe must be one of the easiest targets to spot from the tops of the sky, seeing as though their heads are one of the few heads that actually peer over the bushes. He's beautiful. I don't know if there are any other giraffe around here. He is looking around quite a bit, but he could also just be watching over his shoulder. But with giraffe, they do communicate through body language, so we don't necessarily always hear what they have to say. They're fairly silent creatures. Besides for the odd little snortish. It's a strange noise when they alarm. It sort of sounds like they go. So it's not even a snort. It sounds like they've. Well, how I make that noise, I might put my tongue towards my teeth and then I just blow air, and they do something like that. Other than that, I haven't really heard them make too many other noises, other than them chewing. If you're close enough, you can hear a giraffe chew too. Hello, boy. You're listening to what I've got to say about you and telling everybody that I'm talking absolute nonsense. Only half a body hidden behind that silver clustered leaf. But he's a beautiful boy. He'll be in the prime of his life now. He doesn't look like a small youngster, so he's probably closer towards 20 years old, maybe already even in his 20s. But we can only gauge, as we haven't followed this particular giraffe from birth, so it is very difficult to tell how old he is. But it is anyway difficult to try and keep tabs on wild populations of giraffe because they don't hold territories. They sort of just move around. Now, Mad Maxie said that this is the most beautiful sighting. I'm glad that you're enjoying it. The giraffe are few and far between, but again, we'll start to see more and more animals as the vegetation thins out. We very much, unfortunately, we're sort of stuck only being able to see sort of 30 or 40 meters off of the road. But when winter comes and the bush willows start to lose their leaves and the grass dies down, we'll be able to see much further, and then we'll be able to start to spot a lot more animals too. You'll be surprised as to how many animals are actually just off feeding on the other side of a drainage line, and that we don't even know that they're there. Hey, big boy. They are lovely animals, aren't they? And I think I'm a little bit jealous of Brent being in Kenya, because it's one of my favorite scenes is to actually see giraffe walking over massive open plains, and we don't have too many open plains in this area, unfortunately. We're obviously quite limited. It's sort of quite woody here, lots of little drainage systems. I'm just trying to hear the name. Not. Oh, Tigger. Yes, here we go. So Tigger, that's the name I was just trying to hear. You're wondering how many chews does it take to get to the center of the juicy grass? I don't know if I heard that correctly. I'm not sure. Should we count again? Let's try again. So I can't hear that word. It's all coming out as grass. I can hear the word grass. So I'm not sure what that word was there. But anyways, let's count again, because you can't just take one amount as they've chewed. You've obviously got to do a couple of sort of attempts and then go from there. Okay, now there we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 34, 35. 35 chews that time before it swallowed its food. So that must have been quite a large ball. So you can see it varies from ball of cud to ball of cud. But what I do love to see is that you see the giraffe starting off with chubby cheeks, like it was having a marshmallow competition. And then as it starts to chew, it obviously gets smaller and smaller and smaller before it eventually swallows it. Now there's pill-spotted owlets here as well. You may have heard them call just a moment ago. They're sitting in the shrubs, so we'll listen out and see if we can pinpoint their location as well. Now he's eating.